Unfortunately, I don't have any Lando merch or anything fluoro to wear. So this is all I got. And that will do. So with this present, welcome to my F1 diary. Holy fucking shit, what a race. There is so much to talk about, and I don't even know where to start, but I guess we're gonna start at the end. I remember we had this graphic last year in Abu Dhabi in one of the practices, and I said in that video last year that this would be the perfect result, and I can't believe we actually got it today. I'm not gonna lie, things were a little bit awkward after the race, like in the cool down room and on the podium with the whole Oscars penalty thing, which we'll get to in a second. But first, I am so happy, obviously for Lando, his first home race win, hopefully of many. He won in front of his entire family and of course the Lando stands, which I'm not gonna lie, I was suffering major FOMO from. But at the end of the day, I'm very happy to everyone who got to attend. Lando put so much effort into making them a good experience, and I think he definitely achieved that. Obviously he won, so that is one thing, but also he was there like early every day to greet fans and like sign things and be in the merch stands they had there. They were handing out free like Lando monsters, and his parents were there, and Max Futrell was there too. He really made it an incredible experience for everyone, and he was also just so happy the entire weekend, which made me happy in turn. I just love seeing Lando like this. He was so, happy, and every time they showed the Lando stand, it was incredible to see like all the fluoro people. Oh, it was incredible. Especially every time he drove by. Made me a little emotional as well, because like they're all there for him, and he knows it now. He knows it now. From like when he started doing this, he asked on Instagram, "Hey guys, are you perhaps interested in like a grandstand for y'all in Silverstone?" I don't even know if I have that many fans to do it. And it was sold out like in a few hours, maybe even like just 1 hour, and it was packed the entire weekend. And obviously there were more Lando fans that couldn't get tickets to that. There were just in the general grandstand, in the general admission, and obviously some that were watching from home. But like it was beautiful that he got to visualize how many people love him and support him, and he really deserves to see that and to have that as well. So the whole weekend was incredible as a Lando fan to watch, and the win is just a cherry on top for me, to be honest. And then of course we also have Nico fucking Hulkenberg, the GOAT, getting his first ever podium in F1. Long overdue, but so deserved, and I am so happy for him. He also got driver of the day, rightfully so, not only for being on the podium and getting his first podium, but going from P19 to that podium, and in a Sauber. Insane. I do gotta admit, I was a little bit irked when none of the boys sprayed him on the podium. Like that was a little bit, ooh, why aren't you spraying him? You guys, celebrate him, please. But it's okay. I mean, the result is still the result. He still got to go on that podium and get a trophy. Although a Lego trophy, which is a bit lame. Like it was cool. It was cool looking, but I did hope I mean, it would have been better if it was like an actual trophy. But again, the result is still the result. He celebrated like hell with his team and with other teams too. Mercedes brought them champagne because they didn't have any. I think Aston Martin also joined the party. Max, I think, gave Nico like a lift home on his private plane. K-Meg was there to watch, his ex-husband, and literally everyone was happy. Every single fan that watched that race, no matter who you support, you have something to be happy about from this race with that Nico podium. So yeah, it was very wholesome to see that excitement from him and from the team as well. They really celebrated him, including Gabby as well. He was very excited for Nico, and I really hope that when they become Audi, they have a good car, because Nico deserves more podiums, and I really hope he gets more and maybe even wins. But now, of course, we have to talk about Oscar's penalty. Was it fair? Listen, I read like the report that the FIA released. I looked at the telemetry. I read like the regulations that they released recently, and we all saw the broadcast. Like it was scary. And honestly, thankfully it was just a penalty, because it could have ended so much worse if Max didn't see him in time and just rammed into the back of him, that could have just ended his race or put him way, way lower in the order. So at least it was just a penalty and he still got P2. I can't lie, and I won't. A big part of me was very happy when he got that penalty because obviously that pretty much guaranteed Lando's win. And between the two, I obviously root more for Lando. But the other part of me was gutted for him, honestly. I felt so bad for him. He looked so upset, and rightfully so. I mean, his race win was gone. I can totally understand. But at the end of the day, these things happen, mistakes are made, and even if you don't think that penalty was deserved, Lando has nothing to do with it, nor does the McLaren. So if anyone, you should be pissed at the FIA and not at Lando. So yeah, I also think it was the right call to not switch them and let them race like Oscar asked, which also Oscar in the post-race conference said that wouldn't have been fair. But I mean, he like, why not ask? And totally fair to him. And I also totally understand the frustration in that moment. But again, these things happen. Lando put himself in that position to get Max when he spun and get Oscar when he got that penalty. And that's part of it, especially in weekends like these when the conditions are so unpredictable and changing. You just need to be there and not make any mistakes. And that was Lando this weekend. And honestly, I think he would have gotten Max regardless of the spin, just because Max had a dry setup on his Red Bull and was really struggling regardless. So he would have gotten Max with or without that spin. And would he have got Oscar? We don't really know. There was a point there where he was a second and something behind, and Tom, which is Oscar's engineer, came on the radio and said, Lando's close to the DRS, don't let him get into DRS and stuff like that. So he was a threat to Oscar at some point to like actually overtake on the road. Obviously Lando wasn't very aggressive there or trying that hard because he knew Oscar had that 10-second penalty, and Oscar was told to not fight it on the road if Lando comes because he already has that penalty, and if anything happened between them, that would be a disaster if he like fights him too hard. So we don't know what could have happened, but that's not something to be discussed because if my mother had balls, you would be my dad. So yeah, I completely understand the frustration from Oscar, but after the podium and the press conference, he was smiling again on the fan stage. They all did a shoey, Lando, Oscar, and Zach, and he had an incredible weekend. I mean, he was going probably to win that race. He qualified P2. He overtook Max for the lead. There are a lot of positives from him to get from this weekend, and he will learn from this mistake. That's how you grow as a driver. And again, a P2 is not that bad. Honestly, I don't even think people will remember this. I think anything anyone's gonna remember from this race is Nico's podium, which is completely fine by me. I don't care that it completely overshadowed the whole Lando win and Oscar's penalty thing. I'm completely fine with it. He really deserves the recognition. And yeah, that's a wet race for you. And thank God it was wet. Oh my God, I was praying for it to be wet because McLaren pretty much set their car up for rain, which cost them in qualifying and would have cost them big in the race if it was dry, because a lot of people around them, so Max and the Ferraris, had lower downforce setups for a dry race, so they would be much faster on the straights and it would be nearly impossible to overtake, and we would have probably maybe gotten overtaken by the Ferraris. So yeah, thank God it rained. That is also, again, why Max struggled so much, and the Ferraris, or I mean, more so Charles than Lewis. But Lewis also struggled. I mean, let's be real, if he had a car that is set up for wet conditions, he would have probably gotten Nico Hülkenberg and gotten that third spot on the podium, because I mean, it's Lewis Hamilton in the Ferrari, and he was like 2 seconds behind him at one point. So he was also struggling, and I really don't know what happened with Charles. Oh my fucking God. He had a really, really bad weekend in qualifying as well. His post-quali radio, honestly heartbreaking. And it's crazy how small the margins are right now, because the top 7 were pretty much decided on that last turn, because that's where everyone just oversteered, made a little mistake, except for Max. But everyone else made a mistake in that last corner, pretty much everyone else, and lost some time. So that pretty much was what dictated the order. And back to Max real quick. I am sick and tired of listening to him bitch and moan about that car every single weekend on a Friday and throughout all the practices to then go and put it on pole. I'm sick and tired. I know he is struggling. I know that he is. I know that the car is very difficult, but that's always the case. In FP1, he's always super, super angry at the car, unhappy. It's oversteering and understeering at the same time, no grip. But then overnight, Red Bull, I don't know how, but they do magic. And in FP3 and in qualifying, they're just back on to be on top. I really don't know how to do that. I don't think it's said begging, because then Max wouldn't complain that much. They would just not show that much pace. So they don't do it on purpose. But please just stop. Please stop. I hate it. It's incredibly annoying, to be honest. So yeah, that is all of that. Let's go a little bit back in the weekend. Silverstone is obviously a home race for many teams and drivers. So for teams, we have McLaren, Williams, and Aston Martin. And then for the drivers, it's Lando, Lewis, George, Ollie, and Alex. And we, of course, have some special liveries and suits. So for McLaren, we have another chrome livery. I wish it was all chrome, but okay, it still looks good. And also paired with complementary stealth suits, all black suits with silver or like chrome numbers on the back, which also look good, as always with McLaren's special stuff. Then we have V-Carb with special livery and suits. I love the livery, don't love the suits as much, but that's okay, it still looks good. And then Mercedes with special livery, nothing to do with Silverstone really, just the new cars that they launched, I think that are orange, like sunsetty orange, so they had that same color like the stars on their car, which in this picture that I'm showing you right now, it looks good, but actually on track, not as much as you would think. And last but not least, Williams with a special livery, which you could barely notice. It is just the tiny little line that is red and white, and yeah, it's like their normal livery with that line, so I don't really have much to say about it. And I think that's all the special stuff. I mean, obviously special helmets, we'll touch on that at the end of the year when I rank every helmet from this year. So yeah, let's run through qualifying. Max, as I said, got pole from Oscar Piastri in P2, Lando in P3, George P4, Lewis P5, Charles P6. Kimi qualified P7, but he had that 3-place grid penalty from Austria from that collision with Max, so he falls down to P10. And then Ollie qualified P8, but unfortunately had a 10-place grid penalty for red flag infringement. Second time he does that. So he, like, Ollie, come on. There was a red flag near the end of FP3, and Ollie decided that he wants to cheat the system and try to get into the pits in full race speed just to, you know, see how it is, which is like a normal thing to do in practice, but obviously not okay under a red flag. So that was the infringement. He also crashed because his brakes were too cold. I was very sad for Ollie for that 10-place grid penalty, because especially with this like qualifying he had, and also this is like his first home race in F1, so I was really rooting for him to get a good result, but he fucked himself up with that, to be honest. So he drops to P18 for the race. Then we have Fernando Alonso with a pretty good qualifying. And then Pierre, who qualified P10, once again getting that Alpine into Q3, which is very impressive. I was very surprised that neither Williams or V-Carb got into Q3, because both teams had really, really good pace in the practices. So surprised, and it's a huge shame, to be honest. So for other race results, except for the top 3, which we've already discussed, we had a lot of DNFs. I think all the rookies. Yeah, it was just all the rookies DNF'd except from Ollie, which, I mean, props to him for not DNFing. He did have some spins throughout the race, but at least he didn't DNF again. So we have, I mean, Franco did not even start the race. He was supposed to start in the pit lane. He qualified P20, so they just replaced, I think, a power unit, which makes you start in the pit lane. But then in the pit lane, his car was stuck in second gear, and he stalled it and couldn't start the race. So this is nothing against Franco, but if they don't replace him for Spa onwards, that is so unfair towards Jack, because this was his 6th race, and Jack also had only 6 races, and he did not perform better than him. In fact, I think they're pretty much on the same level exactly. So clearly Franco wasn't an upgrade from Jack. Or at least not now. Again, there's nothing against Franco. It's just, Jack deserved that opportunity. Maybe he could have done better if you just kept him in the car and let him learn and develop as a driver instead of replacing him. And that is why I say it would be unfair if they don't replace Franco. Because then all that Jack did wrong was get that seat in the first place, Because if the situation was reversed and Franco got that seat first and he would have gotten replaced after 6 races and then Jack was put in and then Jack got to continue with Alpine for the rest of the season, even though he wasn't performing just as well. I mean, that's just, again, unfair. So yeah, not that I'm preying on Franco's downfall or anything, but I am advocating for justice for Jack Doohan. So I know they're kind of looking at Valtteri Bottas, and it's always a possibility that Jack would actually come back, but we'll just have to wait and see. I won't be surprised either way, to be honest, like even if they replace him and even if they don't, because just nothing really surprises me with Alpine anymore. So yeah, that was Franco. And then all the other rookies, again, except for Ollie, DNF'd in spins, crashes, stuff like that. Liam from a crash with Ocon. Gabby, I think, just spun on his own. And then Isaac crashed into the back of Kimi, who also DNF'd. So yeah, those were the retirees. And then in 15th place, which is last place, we have Yuki Tsunoda, who I think was struggling the same with a car as Max was, with the lower downforce. And of course, on top of that, just the normal struggles that he have with that Red Bull car. And he also had a 10-second penalty for a collision with Liam. Or not Liam, Ollie. Yeah, a 10-second penalty for a collision with Ollie that sent him spinning for that one time. Not a great race for Yuki. I really don't know what to say about him. Not in a way that I'm disappointed in him, more in a way that I just feel so bad that I don't have any words to describe it anymore. Then in P14 we have Charles. Again, as I said, had a horrible weekend. I don't even know what happened this race. I mean, there were so much things that were happening. It was really hard to keep track of everyone. I think Ferrari just didn't put him on the right tires at the right time. And also, of course, they had the car with lower downforce. So that was also a struggle. Then in P13, we had Ocon. P12, Carlos. P11th, we had Ollie. P10, George. George was one of those people who pitted from the formation lap for slicks, because it was so hard to know what the condition of the track was, because it was raining before the race. So the track was semi-wet, and the formation lap was actually done behind a safety car. So that's how much the race director was scared of the conditions out there. And it was pretty fine. It was moist, I would say, for most of the lap, and then in the last sector it was really wet. But some people still took the chance and pitted at the end of the formation lap to switch to slicks, which was not the right choice. Oh, Charles was one of those people. It was George, Charles, and maybe someone more lower in the order, but not quite sure, but it was definitely George and Charles. Then in P9, we have Fernando Alonso, P8, Alex Albon, and P7, Lance Stroll. So that's double point for Aston Martin. Alonso started ahead of Lance, obviously, a lot ahead. Lance started 17th, but Aston kind of accidentally gave Lance the much better strategy. They put him on the right tires at the right time, basically. They put him on softs when the track was drying up, and he was able to gain a bunch of positions like that. And then exactly at the right time, when it started raining, they put him back on inters, so he just stayed where he was. It was P3 at one point. And honestly, at that point, the race was Oscar, Lando, Lance, and Nico. That was the order. And when I saw that, and there was a sliver of a chance that Nico could get a podium, that was mostly all I could think about. Other than, of course, Lando's situation. But the moment I saw it, I was like, oh my god, is this possible? Can this actually happen? Oh my god, please do. And it did. Oh my god. So yeah, those were the Aston Martins. I think later in the race, Lance's tires kind of gave up on him. He just didn't have the pace and got overtaken by a bunch of people. But he still finished P7th and ahead of Fernando, who wasn't really thrilled with his strategy. At one point he said on the radio, so did we just lose all those races for nothing, for fun. So he was not very happy. At the last stages of the race, Aston Martin tried to give him the strategy that they gave Lance, but it just didn't work. I don't know if it didn't work at all or just not as well. But yeah, he finished, I mean, still in the points, but lower from where he wanted, obviously, and also lower from where he started. So I get the disappointment there. Then we have Pierre in P6. Great job for him, is all I can say. He had a lot of fun in today's race. He had a lot of fights with Lewis, with Max, with Lance. He actually got Lance on the last lap, so great job securing Alpine even more points with that shit box of a car. There was a funny radio from him where he was behind Nico and Lance, and he was like, how the fuck did those guys get ahead of me? Or something in those lines. Then we have Max Verstappen in P5, who again really struggled with a car with a lower downforce and had that spin after the second, or I think maybe third safety car restart. I think it was second. Whatever. Had that spin, fell back to, I think, P10 or P11 and climbed his way back up. And then Lewis Hamilton in P4, which honestly, again, given all the circumstances, is a pretty good result. And then, of course, our very perfect podium of Nico in P3, Oscar P2, and Lando in P1. The race itself, honestly, kind of boring in the beginning of it. The first 20-something laps were mostly under safety cars or virtual safety cars. But after that, I mean, not much happened on track, but it was just crazy to see the results that were happening right in front of our eyes. So yeah, Silverstone 2025, that is it for you. Oh, by the way, Nico, obviously, Sauber put him, I think, on a similar strategy like Stroll. So he was on the right tires on the right time, and that was what enabled him to get up that far in the order in the first place, like Lance did. But unlike Lance, he kept his place and actually overtook Lance at one point with the DRS. So yeah, two more things I have things to say about. First of all, everyone needs to drop the whole Oscar is the new Kimi thing. He's an Iceman. I fucking hate it. He is clearly not, and I think it's getting on his nerves as well. But I really hate that it's become such a talking point, because like in the post-race show, Laura, Winter, and the other one, sorry, I can't remember his name, they were talking about, oh, he was so emotional, so unlike him, the Iceman. Wow, this is so much emotion. But I mean, it's not compared to like what we see from the normal Oscar Piastri, blah, blah, blah. Please stop it. Please stop it. He said himself that he takes a lot of effort from him. It's a conscious effort that he puts into staying calm in those kind of situations, but it's not like he's emotionless or that he doesn't get frustrated or angry. I think the fact that he's paired with Lando, who is very outwardly emotional, so compared to him, he is more reserved and calm, but again, not emotionless. Neither of them are not to any extreme. They're both very normal. And I really hate that they make it a talking point about both of them. I think that's like part of the painting the picture of Oscar, the cold, calculated killer, against Lando, the emotional, immature fight for the Drivers' Championship. I think that's part of it. They're trying to frame it in that way. And I really hate it. And that is it. I really hate it. So I would very much appreciate if they just drop it for both of them. Thank you. And then the last thing before I let you go, I might be eating my words about the whole Max to Mercedes thing, because Mercedes did not announce George's contract extension in Silverstone, which would have been the plan if they did extend his contract. So there's definitely some things happening. I mean, they didn't announce it at the time of me recording this video. This might all be bullshit, but I will still be surprised if they do make that whole move, but I am not as sure of it not happening as I was before. And I didn't believe the Lewis rumors. And we all know what happened then. So yeah, I might have been very wrong after that whole rant in that last video. But yeah, sometimes it's just like it. And remember, I'm a rookie in this sport, basically. I mean, not a rookie, it's not my first year, but it's my second full year that I watch. So take the things I say with a grain of salt, you know? Don't trust me with anything, basically. But yeah, that might be happening, actually. And if it does, I mean, I would be very interested to see how Max goes in that Mercedes and who Red Bull put in that Red Bull seat if it isn't George? And if it is George, then how does George do in that Red Bull? Would be very interesting to watch. But I feel so bad for George. Oh, he is literally always the bridesmaids, never the bride. He missed on Mercedes dominance in the beginning of his career when he was stuck at Williams for a lot longer than he should have been. And like, he actually got a taste of what he missed, because in 2020, I think it was Bahrain, where Lewis had COVID, so George stepped in to replace him, and he was going to win that race if it wasn't for a technical issue with his car. So he almost got a taste of that success that he couldn't achieve on that day with that technical problem, but also that he couldn't achieve in those years because he was stuck in Williams. And then finally, when he gets into Mercedes, they're not dominating anymore, and he's kind of proving himself, because he's on level with Lewis, sometimes, a lot of the times actually beating Lewis, especially in qualifying. So he's proving himself to Toto, and finally when Lewis leaves the team and he's supposedly the new team leader, Toto brings this new shiny toy in Kimi Antonelli, who is supposedly the next Max Verstappen. And although on paper George is the leader of the team, there are some talks now that he might bring the actual Max Verstappen to replace George. And if Mercedes are going to be as good as people say they will in the new regulation set from 2026, and he will miss that as well because Toto took Max instead of him, that would be heartbreaking, honestly. And I really feel bad for him if that happens. And even if it doesn't, like, you know, the whole discussion is pretty disrespectful towards him, which, I mean, I get it. Like, it's Max Verstappen. It's like Carlos Sainz being replaced with Lewis. It's kind of on that level of replacing a great driver with a GOAT, basically. So again, I get it, but I feel bad for George, and I don't know what else to say. And I think that's it, and that is pretty much it. Next we have Spa, which is in 2 weeks, so we have quite a little bit of a break there. I am also a little bit afraid of Spa, just because it's literally Lando's worst track. But if you believe like in superstitions and stuff, oh, by the way, obviously the home race curse did not come to fruition this race, thankfully. And also Spa is kind of a home race for him because his mom is Belgium, so maybe he can continue this home race wins run. Hopefully he can. And also he got a new nose scar because he was going to like stand on the fence for all the fans with a trophy and stuff, and a photographer fell on him and injured him. I think the trophy itself did the injuring. Whatever. It was not malicious in any way, but it was a shame, obviously, for Lando to get injured, and also for all the fans who was there to like almost watch Lando over the fence and stuff. So it was a little bit of a shame, but everything's okay. He's okay. Just a new nose scar. But if you can recall what happened when he last got a nose injury, and if you can't, I'll help you. It was the Miami Grand Prix, his first ever win. So I don't know, maybe if it's because of his new nose scar or not, I don't really care as long as he wins. But let's not be arrogant, you know. I am still worried just for general anxiety that I have about races. And yeah, again, Lando has not done very well in Spa ever. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, enjoy these memes. Bye!